But just look how fired up these fighters are. I wonder if any of them are up for a chat. The Novice League is all about finding new talent, which means everyone here is a first-timer, right? Doesn't that make you nervous?
No! Nerves are irrelevant. Losing isn't an option!
The first time I got my hands on Street Fighter 6, I was instantly hooked in by its aesthetically gorgeous, technically intuitive, pyrotechnic-laden balletic combat sequences, which seem to blend all manner of little bits and nuances of fighting systems I've loved in the past, presenting them in a deeply Moorish concoction. Parrying is simpler than in Street Fighter 3, but just as rewarding. There are recognisable EX and focus style attacks, and it was also easy to pick up and play. I thought about it for days, visions of drive impacts or Hadoukens flying past cherry blossom trees haunting my innermost musings. I was a broken shell for a while, desperate for another go. Now having the full game and its roster to play with extensively, nothing has changed in this regard. As a one-on-one fighter, I constantly find myself hankering for one more tear-up. If you're all about that online fighting life, the Battle Hub makes getting a match a cinch. Once you've set up your profile, you're straight into it. You may well get your ass handed to you initially, but you'll get there. Even early doors, the netcode is stable and reliable. Crossplay is available. Throwing the extreme battle parameters into the mix lends a true sense of unpredictable chaos. You want to fight someone as a rampaging bull causes utter panic around you? You got it. Explosions, electricity, all manner of crazy restrictions and rules. No two experiences are the same. As just a fighting game, this is a terrific piece of work, as the core mechanics are incredible, making it easily Capcom's best since Street Fighter 4. The new characters are varied, well thought through and balanced, and unanimously intriguing to learn. Existing faves from previous games are all given a new lick of paint and a tune-up, while still feeling as warmly familiar as your favourite pair of slippers after a day on your feet at work. Just as Street Fighter 4 effortlessly melded brilliant new characters like Abel and Jury and made them feel like you'd been playing them since the smoky arcades of the early 90s, the new contenders all feel like they fit perfectly into this world, with most having links to other Street Fighter alumni past and present. The best of the newcomers in my eyes is Lily, an indigenous Mexican kid with links to the great T-Hawk, sharing some of his moves. She also has a crazy set of fighting sticks and has the ability to generate her own additional power stock to enhance moves, and it's just great fun to play. Enabling noobs to simplify the control scheme to a more accessible modern layout may sound like sacrilege to old schoolers like me, but in execution, a proficient player uses the traditional 6-button setup will nearly always triumph over someone attempting to spam. The drive system also acknowledges overuse of its most precious functions by placing your fighter in a state of burnout punishment. The drive system is incredibly easy to use regardless of how you want to control things. Street Fighter V was a difficult one to love. There was eventually a loaded roster, but shipping it as they did was always going to draw criticism. I distinctly remember the crushing feeling of, is this it? Capcom were obviously deeply affected by this too, so just as a partner in the doghouse will overcompensate for whatever they did to vex their other half, they've gone almost over the top with additional prezzies to win back the World Warrior fans, and baby, it feels so good. Quite frankly, World Tour is the bravest, craziest and funniest slice of balls out proper video games nonsense I've probably ever seen bolted onto a AAA release. From an almost overwhelming list of options, you're tasked with creating your very own in-game avatar and are then thrust into a beautifully stylised mini open world. The Capcom stalwart Metro City, the same place that you walloped your way through with Mike Hagger back in the day. It uses the vibrant cast of the main game as a series of sensei-like masters. Progression allows you to spar with, converse with and carry out missions for your masters, thus deepening your relationship with them as you progress the flimsy yet shaggily lovable plot. Despite nobody ever asking for anything even resembling World Tour, it quickly becomes apparent that this is exceedingly generous in terms of its furiously addictive gameplay loops and the staggering amount of content, but also in the way it absolutely refuses to take itself seriously on any level. It harkens back to a time when the likes of Sega would make really silly arcade games. It's the Dreamcast and Shenmue sans sailors. It's impossible to dislike, and I will happily square up to anyone cold-hearted and cynical enough to disagree. Building those crucial relationships with legendary fighters gives you access to their unique moves and super art techniques, even the stance and movement of your chosen teacher. It never stops being funny seeing my enormous character, who resembles a large wardrobe with a head, moving around the battles like Chun-Li. You begin with a couple of Luke's attacks, but travelling around and fulfilling missions allows you to create your very own unique moveset for the many battles you'll enjoy, and you will enjoy them. It's really satisfying to be able to combine specials you never even thought you'd pull off outside of one of them hooky Street Fighter 2 arcade cabinets back in the day. Shoryuken into a spinning bird kick before electrocuting them with a blast of Brazilian voltage, that's all possible. Learning specials also allows you to use them as master actions when exploring the wider world, as well as enabling you to initiate combat with NPCs by attacking them, something which never gets old or stops being funny. The master actions also lend proceedings a Metroidvania feel. You can use the aforementioned spinning bird kick to fly through the air and reach platforms or glide across water hazards. Rising uppercut punches can lift you up to reach higher plateaus. You can even use projectile attacks to destroy destructible scenery, which often leads to collectible rewards or cash. Traversing the land is simple thanks to plenty of fast travel points and the eventual ability to fly around the globe to visit far-flung heroes and sit under their learning tree. There are secrets and Easter eggs for days, and if like me you've grown up nourished by a concoction of Capcom arcade titles, you'll feel overwhelmed with joy at times. Little touches like geographically accurate food items for purchase show how deep the attention to detail runs. Being able to grab a brown stew chicken whilst visiting DJ in Jamaica is something I never imagined being a reality. There's so much to do, but nearly everything is there for a purpose, mainly to teach you how to play the game. For example, there's a bombastic pizza-related minigame that is essentially a disguised way of showing you how to quickly input commands as you would when performing special moves. All the fights you get into on the overworld have predetermined sets of conditions, such as performing a certain number of drive-related actions, having to pull off combos or throw your opponent a set number of times. You can find out what these conditions are by approaching someone and pressing a button to determine whether or not it's worth kicking their head in. Fulfilling these will reward you with extra cash, and of course the currency is Zenny. XP, items of clothing, or one of the many items that exist to act as buffs, potions or crafting materials. Oh yeah, there's crafting too, and a skills tree, quite a large one at that. The upshot is that by playing World Tour, not only do you have a tremendous time, but you're also being taught all about how to play a Street Fighter game without even realising it. Oh, and you can also take your self-made avatars into battle in the hub, which offers up the chance to see what mental abominations similarly minded nerds around the world have created. The generosity doesn't end with World Tour either. A full arcade mode has some excellent cutscenes and the bonus of a wild amount of unlockable artwork as a reward for progress. The training missions and practice modes are the best you will encounter in a fighter, period. Not only are there the standard combo input missions, but the extensive character guides do a sterling job of actually showing you how each of the selectable characters plays. Rather than just showing you what buttons to press, you're guided through how, when and why to perform certain actions based upon the positions of the fighters, hitboxes, timing and many other factors. Along with the accessible control schemes, stuff like this means there has never been a better time for first time players to get involved. There are 7 real-life names drafted in by Capcom to provide surprisingly unobtrusive and at times valuable colour commentary to your bouts. These include WWE star and fighting game fan Thea Trinidad and veteran mouthpiece Tasty Steve. There are promised online events, a drip feed of DLC including new fighters and costumes, and a constant rotation of fully playable classic Capcom arcade games employing the same emulation as their arcade stadium. Yeah, you heard that right, there are free arcade games buried in this bad boy. Without wishing to engage hyperbole too much, this is without question the best fighting game package I have ever played. It's almost too much at times, a gloriously overwhelming beast that is way too easy to sink hours of your life into. Fundamentally, a rock-solid engine is one thing, but the fan service and sheer scope of what Capcom have done in terms of additional content mean that it will keep you going far longer than any one-on-one fighter has any right to. Street Fighter 6 is a true instant classic, and for that reason I'm going to score it a 10 out of 10. Hi there, hope you enjoyed that review of Street Fighter 6 from Sean Smith. If you did, please hit like and subscribe, maybe tag the bell icon too, so you're kept up to date with everything we post going forward. And if you want to support us via our Patreon, we appreciate everything that you guys do for us. Bye.